So, first of all, that is not today's date. Today's date is the date that it's being posted, that being January 4th, 2024. But this is the day that I actually beat Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Well, not beat, but I finished with everything I was going to do in it. But at the time I was sick, and then I got busy with doing other stuff around Christmas and stuff, and then there was a lot of procrastinating, so yeah, I'm just filming the video late. That's the day that I beat it, the day that I actually am filming the videos, the day that it came out, and I will likely be posting another video for this tomorrow, or for the Scene project, either tomorrow or soon. So, 2014, Pokemon Alpha Sapphire released. Those are the mainline Pokemon games for that year, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And for my game for 2014, I played through Pokemon Alpha Sapphire because the first time I played through Omega Ruby, and I had a good time with it, but I don't want to reset my original Omega Ruby save file, so I decided to play through Pokemon Alpha Sapphire for this, and honestly, anytime that Team Aqua or Kyogre weren't actively on screen, it didn't really matter. So, yeah, Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, these were my favorite Pokemon games, and remained my favorite Pokemon games until, the release of more Pokemon games, which, I'm not going to spoil which ones are my favorite now, because I'm going to be talking about them later, but just know that they're still my second favorite Pokemon games. They were the first ones that I ever beat. Not the ones that I played the most, probably. That title probably goes to Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. First ones that I beat, first ones that I did an event in. Got the Shaman event for the Year of Mythicals, as well as the Arceus later on. And yeah, it was just a really good time. And I had a blast replaying it. A little thing that I did is, when I could, I looked up the information in the Omega Ruby, the Pokemon Omega Ruby and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, the official national Pokedex, right there. I didn't look everything up that I needed for this. I still used like Bulbapedia and Cerebi, but when I could, I looked up the stuff in it, and it was pretty nostalgic just looking through it. It's got pictures of all the Pokemon up to this point in Generation 6. Like you can see, you got Empoleon through Staraptor there. Stuff with like what moves they learn and when in Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. Their weaknesses and resistances, any gender differences if they have those, abilities, egg groups, height, weight, type, evolution requirements, main way to get them. It's a pretty useful book, and it kind of interested me in a lot of Pokemon's history when I had it, because I've had this since about when the games first came out. I probably got them for Christmas that year of 2014, and yeah, it had me curious, like, oh yeah, I had X and Y, right, but if you go to, for example, Watchog, most of the Pokemon say, oh, here's where you get them in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, or, oh, you have to transfer them from X and Y. But if you go to, we'll go with Patrat, main way to register in the National Pokedex. Leave a Watchog obtained in a link trade in GTS at the Pokemon Daycare, then hatch the Pokemon egg that's found. Okay, so then how do you get Watchog? The answer is, appears in Pokemon X and Y. Oh, I may be thinking of a different Pokemon, but there are some Pokemon in here where they just basically tell you, hey, you gotta play some of the older games for it, and they specifically mention like Black and White for some of them, and that's just kind of something that interested me, because yeah, it's I had Omega Ruby and X and Y, or Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire X and Y, but then there was all these games that the book talked about, and these events that have happened, and it just got me interested into a lot of Pokemon history. which I knew like the Gen 5 games existed. Like I got into the Pokemon games in the lead up to X and Y's release. Like I remember a lot of the speculation about how Froakie would evolve into the eyes would look like glasses. Nobody really saw Greninja coming to my memory. A lot of people thought it was going to be water psychic type. But yeah, it was. I never had the games, so the book kind of got me interested in it. But onto the game itself. So I played through it, became the champion and everything, and then afterwards I also did the Delta episode. Did basically everything you can in the Battle Resort. Mine is actually taking on the Battle Maison because I will at some point. I'm not doing that now. I'm not like EV training and stuff for this because I didn't know what EVs were. That's a lie. I did know what EVs were. I was and continue to be a big old nerd. But I didn't understand how to do the Battle Maison correctly at the time. And even though I do now, I plan on taking it on at a later date, probably in my copy of Omega Ruby, my save file from way back. And there's Delta episode, Battle Resort, and then also the last thing I did was I re-challenged the Elite Four with all their like extra teams where they get like, Phoebe gets a Dusclops and Glacia gets a Frostlass, and that kind of stuff, where their teams are expanded with Pokemon in their type specialties that came out in games past Gen 3, which were pretty cool. Yeah, it was great time. I really enjoyed my time with it. I didn't procrastinate a lot, but I did take my time a lot, and it's kind of helped me reevaluate how I want to play Pokemon games, because back then, like, I just fully explored, like, every town, every route. I went everywhere I could in them, but I don't really do that anymore. So I've been trying to get back into it. Like, I'm playing through Pokemon White 2 right now, and every area I've tried to explore in the fullest, fight every trainer, get every item and everything. I ended up being pretty over-leveled throughout my entire playthrough, which is partially due to Gen 6's absolutely overpowered XP share. But it also has to do with just how much I was exploring. I was fighting every trainer, like I said. So I was a pretty decent 6 to 10 levels above the level curve with basically all my Pokemon, except for when there were new additions to the team. And speaking of which, I think that's about everything I've had to say. I've realized most of the stuff that I say in this video holds no substance. It's basically just nebulous how I feel about the game, which is really what I'm going for here. This is mostly just for me to relive it. But I also thought it would be a cool, series thing. So yeah, I guess now it's time to go and see my team, because I really like this team. I'll say everything about the team when I actually go see it, which will not be immediately for me, but it will be for you. So, alright, here's the team. Kind of a scuffed way to record this, but, you know, it's fine. No spoilers down there. Except now, I have to show both screens, so I'm gonna go in order of when I got the team members. So first off, we have Marsha, my starter, my Swampert, originally a Mudkip. Chose this because I chose it the first time I played through, and it's still my favorite home starter. Before I played, I actually considered Torchic my favorite starter, but I liked Mega Swampert. Now, because of my experience with Swampert, it's my favorite home starter. Met this on the 13th of November. And, yeah. Very fun member to use on my team. It's the only one on my team that I've used before. Oh, that's a spoiler. Only one on my team that I've used before. But still didn't dislike it, of course. Mega Swampert's got a crazy high physical attack, so, yeah, Earthquake did a lot. Next up is Tracer, my, oh yeah, this was female, which was, yeah, rare than male. Next up is Tracer, yeah, because it's got Trace. This wasn't a very original nickname. I made sure to catch a male Gardevoir, or a male Ralts, just in case I'm sitting on the floor right now, just in case I wanted to get a Gallade, but I ultimately decided against it because, well, you couldn't get a Dawnstone until late in the game is what I thought, but I forgot that you could get them from Super Training. But it's fine, I didn't regret using the Gardevoir at all, I'll just use a Gallade some other time. Really strong member of my team. Oh, I also caught one with Trace because I think it's a cool ability. And Gallade loses Trace, which is a bit of a shame. So, really cool Pokemon. I Calm Mind swept, Calm Mind sweeping, what's her name? Phoebe. That was pretty cool. Also was integral in my fight against Watson. Really fun Pokemon to use. Super strong. And then we have the third member of my team, Spore Boy, the Borreloom. I had to keep this guy unevolved until level 40, despite evolving at level 23, because for some reason, Shroomish doesn't learn Spore until level 40, and Breloom doesn't learn it at all, despite it being its signature move. Stupid. But, I got it. Giga Drain, Sky Uppercut, Spore, and Seed Bomb. Pretty cool moveset. And, yeah, pretty fun. Pretty fun Pokemon to use. I remember it didn't learn a fighting type move for quite a while either, so, I had to, like, deal with Dynamic Punch for a bit before it got Sky Uppercut, and before that even, it didn't learn a fighting type move at all. Next is Overcast the Altaria, which is actually my highest member of my team. I guess because it's in a faster XP group than Swampert, I caught it quite a while after Swampert, and, it was underleveled for a while. Met it in Route 114, which is right by, what's it called? Flannery Town. Or, no, it isn't. Yes, it is. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, though, is the point. Well, the Volcano Town. And, Altaria, Gardevoir, and Swampert could all Mega Evolve, which was a big part of it, because I think Mega Evolution is really cool. So I tried to get a lot of Pokemon that could Mega Evolve, and half my team can Mega Evolve. Yeah. Technically, I think, Mega Altaria overlapping Fairy type with Gardevoir was the only type overlap I had on this team. I usually try not to have too much type overlap, but sometimes it ends up with, like, in my first playthrough of Scarlet, I used Skeledirge, Goldengo, and Tinkaton, which meant I had 2 Steel types and 2 Gust types, but it's fine. I don't make it that big of a point that I absolutely never use type overlap. I just try not to too much. And I didn't, when I didn't evolve in battles, that I didn't evolve Altaria, which was ones where I wanted it to keep the flying type so I could have Fly Stab, or the Moonblast Stab. And then we have Horseshoe. Met location in Rustboro City, but I got the fossil on the one desert route that I can't remember its name. This thing was pretty useless, and then it evolved and became one of the best members of my team because Rock Slide hits a lot of stuff in Hone for super effective damage. And, yeah. I think fossil Pokemon are really interesting, and I haven't used them that much before. So I decided that I'd use an Armaldo for this run, and, yeah, pretty dang fun, I'd say. Not really my favorite fossil, but it's one of my favorites now, I'd say. I had this up against Steven's Armaldo in the final fight. That was kind of cool. This one won, Metal Claw. And then the last member of my team is a cool one, and it's in an Ultra Ball for a reason, because that Pokemon is Registeel. Exterminate the Registeel. This guy was interesting. So when I originally decided to do this, I figured, oh man, I might have some overlap with Swampert and Kyogre, but it's fine because Mega Swampert could Swift Swim. That's cool. Synergy. But then I remembered when I first played through Omega Ruby, I didn't use Groudon. And technically this isn't wholly accurate to what I would have done, because there's no way I was figuring out the Reggie puzzles. I think there might have been a sort of a way hinting at how to do them in the book, but yeah, I wasn't doing that. But hey, I can't play him exactly how I did at the time. So, yeah, I got Regiseal. I really like the Reggies, and I decided that I would take the opportunity to use one on my team, and it was pretty fun. It's the lowest member I made on my team because you meet it at level 40, and I think at the time all my other team members were about the same level that it is now. I don't know, maybe lower than that. Probably between, like, 50 to 55. So, a little underleveled. And now, after I rematched the Elite Four, it's about the level that the first Elite Four battles were, but it's a legendary, even if it is underleveled. Yeah, look at this. Look at that. That's a lot of defense. I just, like, curse spammed and then Iron Head to just win everything. So yeah, this was a really fun team full of Pokemon that I hadn't used on playthroughs before, aside from Swampert. And, yeah, good team. Back to my room. Crazy team, right? I'm recording this right after, before, whatever. Yeah. So, next up, I talk about which game I'm playing next. Now, this would be the part where I hold up the box, but like Portal, this is a game that I don't own physically, and I actually don't know if this one exists physically. I think it might. But that game is... My game for 2015 is Shovel Knight, played on Shovel Knight Treasure Trove on Switch.